Hey, it is Darby here with Calm Math, and this video is covering session 2. It is the second part of a practice FSA test, Florida State Assessment Test for grade 3. This portion of the test you can use a calculator on. Yay! One of my favorite tools is a calculator. So let's get started. Which is a way to find the value of 48 divided by 8? And you can use a calculator. You don't need to solve this, but they want to know how you would solve it. So are we adding, dividing, multiplying, or subtracting? Well, this is a division symbol, so it would be dividing, this second answer choice B here. Okay, Alex goes to the grocery store at the time shown. What time does Alex go to the grocery store? So we have a clock here. It is analog, old school with hands. The shorthand is pointing, this is the hour hand. So I'm going to put H for hours. And this is the minute hand. So I'm going to put M for minute. So in between 10 and 11, meaning it's going to be at 10. It's not past 11. So the hour is going to be 10. And then the minute is right here. And the minutes go in increments of 5 because 12 goes into 65 times. So this is like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. At 6 is at 30 minutes. So 7 is 35 minutes. And then the little lines are for like individual minutes. So it's 35, 36. So that's going to be at 37 minutes. So at 10, 37, which is answer choice C. Miss Yost has 20 boxes of markers. Each box contains 5 markers. So how many markers does Miss Yost have in total? Each is the key word here, and that means multiply. So 20 boxes, they have 5 markers each. You're gonna multiply it, of course, use a calculator if you want, but 20 times 5 is 100. So you would put in answer, make sure to fill in your bubbles all the way. Of course, this is a paper-based test. Most tests are on the computer now, so you probably don't even have to fill in a bubble like that on the computer-based test. Okay. Alasia, Alicia, I don't know how to say her name. I apologize. This is why I teach math. She counts all the tiles on her floor. Each of the floor tiles is a square. What measurement does she find by counting all of the floor tiles? So imagine you have your room and there's floor tiles. So if you're counting the individual tiles, you're counting up the area of the floor. How many tiles does it take to cover the area of the floor? Okay, a triangle is represented here, and it's cut up into sections. And the first part says the parts of the triangle have equal or unequal areas. So if we're looking at like this portion is the biggest down here. And then there's like, this portion is smaller, right? And then this portion is smaller than that. And then this is the smallest area. So they're unequal. We don't know. They're definitely not the same because you could fit a lot of this tiny triangle into the other ones. Okay, so they're unequal because they are different sizes. They're not the same size. And because they are different sizes, we don't know what the area of each part is. Like they can't all be the same fraction, so it would be unknown. They're all different sizes. Their size is unknown. All right, which expression is equivalent to the same as, equal to 7 times 2 plus 3? So how would you go about solving that? I think what's throwing me off is this X right here, because in middle and high school, we don't use an X for a multiplication sign. So I'm going to rewrite it like this. It may look more familiar to some people this way. 7 times 2 plus 3. In this case, you can distribute 7 times 2, right? And then we have our plus sign. I'm going to put the plus sign right here. And then you distribute the 7 times the 3. My pencil gave out. Okay, 7 times 3. So that's the distributed property. And no, it almost looks like this could be an answer, but there's a multiplication sign in the middle. So that is not it. This is not it. We are multiplying 7 times 2 and 3. So this would be the right answer, the first one, A. All right. So I can't show all of this on one page. I will scroll as I answer it. The line plot shown displays the lengths of pieces of ribbon that Johnny measured. And this is almost like a stem and leaf or scatter plot. Imagine that this line is a ruler, okay? So imagine this is a ruler, right? Well, pretend it's a straight ruler. So one of them is exactly at 3 right here. And then this one right here is at 3.5. And notice if we're looking at this first answer choice here, it is at 4. Okay. Do we have an X at the 4? No. So let's look at some of the other answer choices. Okay, this one is at 5.5. Right here, 5.5. So if I go back up, do I have, yes, there is X's at 5.5 right here. Okay, so B at 5.5 would be the correct answer. I'm going to check the other two just to make sure. So C says 7 inches right here. There is nothing directly over the 7 on that one. And D is at 8 inches and there's nothing directly over the 8. So the answer for B, 5.5 right here would be the correct answer. Okay, Mr. Soto gave a total of 54 fire safety posters to 9 schools. He gave the same number of posters to each school. What is the total number of posters that Mr. Soto gave to each school? So are we going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? If there's 54 total posters and they were given to 9 schools, we're going to divide 54 divided by 9. How many times does 9 go into 54? 6 times. So he gave 6 posters to each school. Oh, here's a 2-part question. A 3rd grade class is collecting plastic bottles for an art project. On the first day of collecting bottles, 2 students each bring in 8 bottles. By the end of the week, 127 bottles are added to the amount brought in on the first day. So what would be the sentence, the math sentence for this? We know 127 was added. So if you look at the answer choices, they all have plus 127 on them. What's different is what we are doing with the 8 and the 2. So let's check that out up here. 2 students each bring in 8 bottles. Our keyword is each, and if we know our math vocabulary, that means we're going to multiply. So 2 students times 8, that would be answer C right here. 8 times 2 plus the 127 at the end of the week. Now let's look at part B. What is the total number of plastic bottles they had by the end of the week? So if we know that the answer choice was C, 8 times 2 plus 127, 8 times 2 is 16, plus 127. Of course, you can use a calculator to check your work. So 6 plus 7 is 13, 3, 4, 143 bottles. I'm going to double check my work with the calculator really fast. Okay, so 16 plus 127 is 143. So the answer would be D. Okay, select all the expressions that are equal to 324. So we're going to solve all these out and find out which ones are equal to 324. Okay, so A is 372 minus 48. That does equal 324. Yes. Okay, so B is 660 minus 346. That is equal to 314. So that is not one of the answers. And remember, in questions like this where it says select all, it means there's more than one answer. Okay, answer C, 119 plus 215. That is 334. I'm going to double check my math really fast because I tend to make mistakes. Okay, so that is not the answer because it's 334. Answer D, 728 minus 404. This one is equal to 324. So answer D is also a correct answer. And then E, 216 plus 108 is 324. So that is also a correct answer. So A, D, and E are all correct. What I find, especially with students that I work with, is a lot of mistakes happen because they're not thorough and they go too quickly when answering questions. So they might have missed one of the answers. Okay, here is a multiplication table, and we have the numbers that are shaded along the edges, and they're things that they multiply to in the middle. And the multiples. So which statement correctly describes how to find the multiples of 6 in the table? So is it find all the numbers that end with 6? No, because not all multiples of 6 end in a 6, like 6, 12, 18, 24. Those do not all end in a 6. So that is not the answer. Find all the numbers that start with 6. That is not the answer either, because 60, 61, 62, 63 are not all multiples of 6. 6 does not go into 61 evenly. Find all the shaded numbers that would meet an unshaded 6 at an unshaded 6. That may work for, like, say, this one, but that is the only one it would work for. So that is not the answer, because we're looking for multiples, more than one number of 6. Okay, find all the numbers in the same row or the same column as a shaded 6. So if we look at a shaded 6 over here, and kind of follow this whole row, these are all multiples of 6 in the unshaded part. Same goes for if you wanted to look at the number 6 up top and follow it all the way down. These are all multiples of 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. So the correct answer is D. Find all the numbers in the same row or the same column as a shaded 6. And that is the end of session 2. So this was, again, the second part of a FSA, Florida State Assessment Practice Test for grade 3. And this was the section you could use a calculator on. The first part, you cannot use a calculator, and I will link to that in the description. If you found this helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Take care.